Well, hi again. My name is Greg, and welcome to Chapter 15 of my 1949 P3 Rover restoration story. In this chapter, I'm going to cover what I'll describe as a refurbishment of the shiny bits. So I'm going to cover refurbishment of things like the headlights, the side lights, and the re-chroming of quite a lot of parts. I've had just about everything that can be re-chromed on my P3, apart from the bumper bars at this stage. Just waiting on getting a bit of further repair work done on the bumper bars before I get those re-chromed. Some of this footage was shot quite some time ago, so in a way this is just a collection of work that I've been accumulating on this subject. Again, I hope you find it interesting and informative. I'll get on with the show now and I'll see you at the end of it. Okay, hope you enjoy it. Bye. I'll start off with some work that I did fixing up this chrome surround that goes around the front windscreen. It proved to be a bit of a tricky job removing the front windscreen. I had to gain access to a couple of brackets, one of which you can see here, and also there's a couple of screws that sort of screw into the framework, but yeah, with persistence I got it out in the end. The job today is to rejoin this chrome surround that goes around the front windscreen of my P3 Rover. Now, as you can see, I've had this surround re-chromed and re-chromed rather nicely. The two halves are held together with a thin strip of steel with tapped holes in it that bolts in through these holes that I'm showing here. So this piece just slots into a channel on the inside edge of the windscreen surround. As you can see, the original part's very corroded. I had a lot of trouble getting it apart. So the job now is to remanufacture these little strips with tapped holes. So here's my tapping plates after I've milled them down to the right thickness. It's just a firm fit in there, trust me. Anyway, which is what I want. So the next trick now is just to take these back to the milling machine, and I'll use a milling machine to get the holes marked in the right place. Okay, I've got the holes positioned where I want them now. I'll just zoom in a little. So these two holes are 3/4 of an inch apart, 1 inch from there to there, and 3/4 of an inch from there to there. Next trick is to drill through with a so-called tapping drill size. So I've used my old Zeus precision guide from, let me think, 1976. Well, that dates things a bit, doesn't it? So on this, I might just zoom in on it. I'm looking for BA standard threads. Number 4 is what I'm after, and if I scroll down here, recommended drill sizes. So number 4, it's recommending that I drill a 3mm diameter hole. So that's what I'm going to do. Stainless steel can be a bit tricky to drill as it has a tendency to work harden. That is, the heat generated by the drilling process can actually cause it to harden. So the general strategy is just to, once it starts cutting, just don't hesitate, just keep going. Well, that's a relief. So what I'm doing is I'm being very careful to keep the tap square, applying a little bit of downward pressure. I'm just getting the tap to begin to bite into the material and start to cut a thread. I like to avoid breaking taps for at least a couple of reasons. One, the taps are fairly expensive, and two, if it does break off, it ends up very firmly lodged in your workpiece and you'll probably never get it out again. 4 out of 4 ain't bad. I'll just deburr it a little, probably run the tap through again, blow out the holes with compressed air, and then do the next one. Next I'll cover work done on the parking lights. I originally tried to do it do all the bends by hand, but because it involves some quite tight bends close to each other, I just found that pretty much impossible to do. So I made this tool, which is just simply a piece of plate with 3 pins on it, two smaller ones and one bigger one in terms of diameter, and all positioned just in the right distance from each other to give me the bends where I want them. I'll give a very quick demonstration on how it works. After bending the springs, I tempered them in my Weber barbecue, as you do. Here's a partially assembled version of the side lights or parking lights. I'll just bring that in closer, and I'll just put my finger on the spring clip there that I made. So I made two spring clips for each of the lights. Made the rivets that hold them in as well, and you can see, I'll just bring that in a little closer. Their function is really just to hold that glass lens in place so that it doesn't rattle around. I will cover work done on the door and boot handles next. Here I have one of the door assemblies from my car. I've started putting the door assemblies back on, but what I found is that on at least one of them there's a thread on this fitting that's damaged. So on the one that I'm about to work on, the thread was damaged to the point where the screw wouldn't hold on the thread at all. So I'm going to use a helicoil kit to repair it. So this video will just be about showing that process. When I was demonstrating tapping the thread for the helicoil, unfortunately I had the work that I was doing obscured a little bit, mainly because I was concentrating on doing the job as opposed to concentrating on making a video about it. So I thought I'd just give a quick demo here. This is just a bit of scrap material, really, a bit of scrap aluminium. So I've got the helicoil tap here, and I'll put a little bit of thread cutting oil on it. So the idea is you get your tap and keep it as square as possible, which I'm fairly confident I can do by eye, and then it's just a question of winding it in, and it cuts the correct thread as it goes in. If it was a tougher material, you'd sort of back it off occasionally to sort of break. How would I describe it? Just break off the material that's being cut. That's winding in quite easily because it's reasonably soft material, and it's a fairly new and sharp tap. So that's plenty deep enough. So I'll just wind that out. Now you've got a thread which will match the thread of the helicoil. So then you get your helicoil inserting tool. So got the helicoil there. Should be able to wind it in there. And here I've got the bit of scrap that I just did a demo of inserting a helicoil on. I've got a 2BA screw here, so I'll just try that, and that should fit in just nicely, and it does. Next I will cover some work done on the headlights. Well, hi again. With this I'll wrap up chapter 15 of my 1949 P3 Rover restoration story. As usual, I hope you found it interesting and informative. I did try and I guess cover a fair bit of material in this chapter in some ways, so to some extent probably did skim over things a little bit. In the next chapter I'll probably cover work that I did on the heater on my car, sort of getting that functional again. That I think will prove to be more interesting than it first sounds. Did quite a bit of work on getting that to work. And then after that I think I'll get to some more current work that's been done on the car. So at this stage the car is still with a restoration workshop in Mount Barker in the Adelaide Hills, and it's got to quite an exciting stage. So the repainting and final finish colour has begun. So all the body repairs are done now, and we're getting to the final stages hopefully. So stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Bye.